Hey y'all, welcome back. We are proceeding on in our A to Ylang Ylang with the next C, which is Copaiba. Now this oil was released in the 2017 doTERRA convention and the room erupted. I mean, we were whooping and hollering like fools. There is so much talk about this oil and so a lot of the other products which affect the endocannabinoid system. So, because of that, because this is such a great, powerful, phenomenal oil, we're going to do, what do you call it?
A halfer.
A halfer. This isn't a twofer, this is a halfer. So we're going to break this into two parts because we really want to do this oil justice. So,
part one is going to be kind of like our normal format, running through some highlights of the oil, uses and all that. And then for part two, we're going to try and bring in a special guest to talk more about Copaiba with us. And due to their availability, it might be a couple weeks. So we'll probably just continue on with our A to Ylang Ylang series until we can get with them, bring them on and do part two, which will jump more into the scientific studies that are around. There's so many on Copaiba, and specifically on beta-Caryophyllene, which is the main
chemical constituent. So, write in the comments and stuff any questions or notes or anything specifically that you would like to know more about in this oil, and we will make sure to cover it because we're gonna try and dive deeper.
Yeah, a little bit of a deep dive.
Okay, Copaiba. So give us the quick highlight on the chemistry of this oil.
Okay, so these come from trees in Brazil. That's where Copaiba, and there's 4 varieties that they harvest from. And there's a really great doTERRA sourcing video. I'll link that in the description of this video, so go watch that and see how they harvest this oil. And it's an amazing story how doTERRA is able to source this sustainably, because it is a tree resin, like frankincense.
But it's an oleo resin, so it's more like a maple syrup. It's the liquid sap, so they tap it. And then the resin
and so
flows
they
out.
can't drain too much, or you'll harm the tree, or and it all depends.
Yeah.
So there's a great video. Go check that out.
Yeah, we'll link that.
And then they steam distill the resin to make the oil. And Jesse saw a neat little statistic that was like 0.8 pounds of resin to get a 15 milliliter bottle.
Yeah.
And then on the chemical constituents, so beta-Caryophyllene is the main, over 50% of the oil, and it's a sesquiterpene. And we'll get more into this in part 2, hopefully, but you have a lot of companion sesquiterpenes and diterpenes. Diterpenes are kind of rare.
Yeah.
And it's that synergistic effect of the oil which just makes it amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, you hear a lot about this oil kind of in conjunction with cannabis or CBD and all that, but what's really special about beta-Caryophyllene is it kind of has a lot of similarities to the cannabinoids. It's not a cannabinoid, and it can interact with our body in a way that does not have the psychoactive qualities of cannabis. So we'll go more into that and the neuroprotective, properties of the soil in part 2. But that's kind of the highlight there.
Yeah.
And I think Jessie has a great example that she was hearing about. Like beta-Caryophyllene, when we get more into the deep dive, it comes in and it interacts with the CB2 receptor in our cells. And a lot of times you hear about a lock and key mechanism, basically the essential oil being like a key, coming in and doing something in a lock. But it's not great in
it's a close analogy, but it's like...
But just is a good one, so...
Well, it was Nicole Stevens, who's one of the scientists, one of the doTERRA scientists, and she was explaining it really beautifully about how the outside of the cell is such a beautiful protective layer, kind of like the windows in our house, that when the individual molecules land on that, and they are lipid soluble, but they land and start triggering things to happen inside the cell. So in the same way, when we look outside and see what it looks like outside, or if we see it raining, it's going to change what we do inside. So as we plan to go out, and obviously, like, we go out of our house and things don't go out of the cells. This analogy isn't perfect, but things happening on the outside affect what we do on the inside. So if it's cold outside, we turn on the fire. Or like I said, if it's raining, we would do things differently. We would pack our kids' backpacks differently. So in that same way, and then you start getting the cell doing like upregulation and downregulation in the DNA, and you get all these cool domino effects of things happening inside the cell.
Yeah, that's really it.
It's really complex.
It's like the first link in a chain. It's almost like you unlock the lock and then the whole chain falls.
What are those beautiful Rube Goldstein things, where this happens, that knocks this and it triggers this, and so it's the body doing what the body was created to do. And so in that sense, this beautiful oil does a lot in the body. I mean, as we were reading this and going through the list, and I know a lot of the other leaders on our oil team, this has become their favorite oil. And I wish we could get them all here to share all the different ways that they use this oil and why they love it. Like Dominic said, we're going to try and get a guest next week to go a little bit deeper in the medical side of it. But for now, this is one that we already use daily, and we are going to continue to do so, and we're going to continue to encourage you to do so and find ways to work it in. So first and foremost, if we open up and smell it, it is a resin, and it's a little bit tree, but a little bit brighter.
Yeah, but definitely spicy, woody, warm.
Yeah, it's not like as heavy as some of the other woods, but you definitely get that wood.
Yeah.
And this, just smelling it or doing a drop on your hands here, is having incredible mood boosting, mood balancing effects. So Copaiba is, Dominic mentioned the word is neuroprotective, and it is amazing for what it does for mood. You want to talk a little bit more?
Yeah, so
about that?
Copaiba can be compared a lot to frankincense, and a lot of people will use frankincense in spiritual rituals and stuff. Like, we joke that like you walk into a Catholic church and you just smell that incense, which is typically frankincense. It's the smell. But we live in a fallen world. There's a lot of sin. There's a lot of evil that happens in this world, and those negative emotions, we partake in that. We have things we regret and don't agree with. And so what Copaiba is able to do emotionally is help you to, in light of your mistakes and your poor choices and
or any damage that's been done to you,
as
a result of sin or anything,
helps you take that negative emotion and process it in a way that is in light of our Creator and our Savior, and how to make that become a positive thing, and that we have forgiveness and not a negative self-defeatist thing. And that Copaiba just helps your mind, in a sense, I think the word was unveil, like a lifting of your eyes and seeing
the oil, but calls it the oil of unveiling,
who you are in light of your Creator, and come to a positive place in those emotions and not a negative place where you dwell and you're defeated and all that.
So we start sitting on the truth of who we are and who we're created to be, and that working toward that divine image, that imago Dei of who we're created to be.
Exactly. So it's a great oil to diffuse for that reason. Kind of more on the emotional side, I think, is why you would want to diffuse it. I personally use Copaiba daily in the soft gel form. So this just came out
this last year, 2018.
Each soft gel has about 2 to 3 drops of Copaiba oil in there, and it's bound in tapioca, which was a big deal. But you get the internal benefits. So when you take Copaiba internally, it's going to help support a multitude of systems. So you have your nervous system, cardiovascular system, digestive system, and immune system. So getting this in your daily routine, so I take it in the morning with my supplements. Jesse, you take it.
And we talk, there's internal, which means you swallow it down and it goes through the digestive system, or there's oral. Both are considered, like they're marked with the little I internal in the product information page, but oral is doing something in your mouth. So I take the Copaiba oil and this beautiful little dropper that we added on to it, and just do a drop or two under my tongue sublingually in the morning, in the night if I remember, and I do that with Copaiba and frankincense. I do them both. And then I take one of the soft gels at night in the evening, as well. And a lot of, I mean, even the founders, like Emily Wright says that she does a drop of Copaiba under her tongue morning and citrus bliss, and that's how she starts her day, because it's just a powerful way again to kind of get your emotions in control, get all your systems operating, work for you know, restoration of the things in the body.
The main reason I use it, so you get all those great effects, but I specifically use to just take those kind of aches and pains away. So Copaiba is so powerful as an anti-inflammatory and a pain support, management.
We saw one note that said that it might be the highest anti-inflammatory, most anti-inflammatory substance on earth, possibly.
The beta-Caryophyllene.
Yeah, the beta-Caryophyllene. So great for that. Which
so
we know that inflammation tends to be a root trigger for a lot of other things. Chronic inflammation in our body tends to trigger a lot of other problems in our body.
So what blends is it in? Because it's not in a lot, right?
It's not in a lot of blends. So obviously we've got the oil, we've got the soft gel. It has been added to the kids' Rescuer blend. So this is like the kids' version of Deep Blue, their soothing blend, which again talking about all the aches and pains. And so the kids, so it's got the neat little carabiner on here and the little rubber cap, so the kids can take it with them, so our kids can take it to the bag. And Rescuer has Copaiba, lavender, spearmint, and xanthoxylum, which one of the neat things is that's not an oil we would normally get, and so here it is in this. So adults, if you're not wild about Deep Blue, if you don't like the warming sensation, then give Rescuer a try, which you can now buy individually.
And I'll also link to it in the description, but we have a video on our tendon juice recipe, which we use for tendon support. So Copaiba is great for tendonitis and tendon support in general, and so go check that video out for how we make a roller bottle that has a bunch of lemongrass and Copaiba in it.
So this is one, as we're reading it, like we talk to this a lot with our athlete friends, like, okay, Copaiba is one to work in, but in general, think just long life and vitality. Like, again, we want to be doing the things that we love doing for a very long time, as long as God would allow us. So this is one that we would add to, like we add it to Deep Blue, we would add it to turmeric, we would add it with frankincense, like kind of using those ones in just that daily fighting as an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, helping all the gut, the systems, the immune systems, and all that. And one more note I just thought of, because Copaiba is so powerful for emotional health, is that one for kiddos who just really struggle with, we'll call it big emotions, or have a hard time focusing or getting control, Copaiba is a great place to start for that. And now also doing digestive things, because there are more neurotransmitters in your gut than in your brain. So we start rubbing on Digest Zen in the morning, and then doing the our DDR Prime blend, which we've added Copaiba to the DDR Prime for cellular health. And so doing that on the neck, or doing Rescuer, is a really great way to help your kids to face the day. And ours kind of go like, I don't want to go to school, I don't want to get up, and just giving them a leg up, as it were, because we know that childhood is rough already. Okay, what other uses? Yeah, there was a list. There's a whole huge list. So this might
be a little bit of a shotgun approach, but we've got respiratory support. So in the diffuser again, Copaiba is great for respiratory support. Anxiety and sleep, kind of going back to some of the mood qualities, but also will help while you sleep, so you can diffuse it while you sleep. Blisters, bites, burns, bruises are all Copaiba.
So take it with you when you travel. Just just keep it in your little emergency, whatever that comes up.
So we've talked about like lavender, basil, purify are all great on bug bites. So, well, Copaiba.
If you don't have all this, Copaiba.
That's another one. And then just as far as skincare and beauty products, Copaiba is used in a lot of things. But if you're specifically looking to help reduce the appearance of dryness, aging, healing skin, use Copaiba and consider adding with it cedarwood and blue tansy. Those are great companion oils, which are excellent for your skin.
Yeah. So I've got a couple different ones that I use, and I'll sort of pull out, and I'll use rose for a little while and have it sitting there, or I'll use neroli for a little while, or I've got in the evening I do Immortelle, and I kind of change it up. But I also have one is I get the Melaleuca Touch roller bottle, because the roller bottles are really awesome, and I've added frankincense to it, so I'm now going to do this. When I have to refill that, I'm going to add in the frankincense with the Melaleuca, of course, and then Copaiba and cedarwood. So finding a way kind of as you're redoing your makeup or face routine, adding it in your skin health, because yeah, it's great for skin health.
Yeah.
And then Dominic didn't want to mention women's things because he didn't want to bring that up.
I had to do a whole Clary Sage video.
But can be shown to help with women's things. Okay, you can move on. Did you finish your list?
I did. There's so much, y'all. So definitely give me comments.
Also head tension, any kind of tension, any kind of hurting, anywhere it's hurting.
That's right.
Copaiba is a good one.
So yeah, definitely share with us how you're using Copaiba.
Yes.
I'm interested to hear.
What more you want to hear in part 2?
And yes, if you got any questions for part 2, let us know those. We'll try to work those in when we get that scheduled. So assuming it's not next week, what are we talking about next week?
Coriander is next.
All right, y'all.
So we're going back to a seed.
Thank you. Seed. We'll see you next time.
Oh, I forgot. No, I forgot.
What?
I forgot. Okay, with mentioning the little dropper here, is that this is phenomenal because you could try and take the bottle and hold it and kind of try a line under your tongue. It might hit the chin.
You might get 5 drops.
You might get 5 drops, yeah. But the dropper helps significantly. So what I was going to offer y'all is we always put in every video description, there's always a link with a Google form if you just want any more information or if you have questions or if you're interested in hearing more about oils and you want to set like a quick little 30-minute appointment and we can talk more about your health goals and concerns, kind of talk to doTERRA. Because again, we like doing this, but really it's one of those where we want to know you and what you need and what's pertinent to you and get that in your house, not just what we like to do. So what I was going to say is if you want to fill out that Google form and give us that little bit of information on what you're interested in, normally for appointments I gift a wild orange, but I'll throw in 2 of these little droppers as well, one for your Copaiba and one for your frankincense, so that you can start adding that to your daily routine here. And then we're going to end, so I'll show you, this is how we do it. Lift your tongue, 1 or 2 drops right under the tongue. And I can't say it tastes the greatest. If you want to hold your tongue up for a little while at the end while you do it, then it won't get up to your taste buds. I'm talking now after I did it, so it's kind of moving out my mouth, so it's everywhere. It's not the best thing I put in my mouth. I mean, it doesn't taste like chocolate. It's not the worst thing, but hands down, the benefits of it outweigh about a moment or 2 of unpleasantness. And then now I'll just go drink some water and chase it down. Try it, do it. Get a couple droppers from me. I would love to bless you all with that.
Can I close this?
Yes.
So if you haven't, subscribe, like this video, ring the notification bell, and you'll know when we upload something.
Yeah, and look for part 2.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks.